Call the meeting to order.
Okay, welcome to the Queen Anne's County Commissioners meeting. This is a public informational meeting that is being aired live on our local cable television station, QACTV 7. These media broadcasts provide county citizens an opportunity to watch and participate in our scheduled public meetings. In addition to our live audience this evening, we are providing remote options for citizens to watch our County Commissioner meeting. Citizens may watch our meeting live on our website at qac.org/live or on our television channel, Breezeline Channel 7 and High Definition Channel 507. Citizens may also participate by joining the live Zoom meeting by going to qac.org/public comment. Citizens may also email comments to publiccomment@qac.org. Comments received will be read during the press and public comment period on tonight's agenda. Press and public comment will be taken and is limited to 3 minutes per person. If you do care to speak, please sign up at the information table in the lobby. Comments longer than 3 minutes can be submitted in writing for the Commissioner's review. We will now stand and be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Commission President Chris Corcorino.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, folks, tonight's meeting, the purpose of our meeting this evening is to present the County Commissioner's proposed FY26 budget, operating budget, and capital budget, and to receive public comments. So, shall we take it away? Ready to go? All right, we have the presentation up on the screen, and there's some handouts on the lobby table out there as well with some additional information for folks to review. So let me first say that this is a culmination of 4 months of very hard work by all of our county departments and our local agencies, which the county commissioners support each and every year. We're very pleased to submit tonight a balanced operating budget for the next fiscal year without any tax increases or decreases in current levels of service. The presentation will provide a high-level summary of our proposed FY26 operations budget along with our proposed capital plan for next year. Anyone that would like to go a little bit deeper into the numbers, we will have some information and a link where you can find every single detail about this year's budget as well as prior year information and actuals. And then following our presentation this evening, we will be receiving public input and comments. So we will begin the presentation. So this first slide shows our revenue budget projections for next year. Here in Queen Anne's County, we're very fortunate to have strong property and income tax revenue, and we are expecting growth of 12.7% and 4.1% respectively over the FY24 actuals. We have had a few property tax reassessment cycles now, with average increases exceeding 15%. However, our homestead tax credit caps those increases for principal homeowners at 5% per year. Our revenue projections of $209.1 million represents an overall increase of 8.8% over the current year's budget, which again was driven primarily by our strong property tax assessment growth. Our finance office and our planning and zoning offices are also implementing a new short-term rental tax and permit management system, and we do forecast to capture an additional $150,000 from accommodation taxes this year via short-term rentals. And finally, as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, the lion's share of our county revenues is property and income taxes at 85.6%. So we'll go through some spending highlights on the expenditure side first. Leading off, we have an additional $8.3 million for our Board of Education. That includes $7.6 million, which is above our maintenance of effort requirement, along with $644,000 due to some state cost shifts for local pickup covering teacher retirement pensions. And due to the state's budget shortfalls and the budget crisis, the state has passed down several of their expenses to the counties. We're not alone. This is a statewide situation. These include the $644,000 that I just mentioned for the Board of Education pensions, and $215,000 to cover the State Office of Assessment, and $47,000 for additional pension expenses for Chesapeake College teachers. We're also proposing no new positions this year. This is due to obvious looming federal uncertainties as well as the state budget shortfalls and their crisis. We do, however, plan to maintain an employee cost of living increase, which is tied to current rates of inflation, and our pay-for-performance program for employee retention and recruitment. Finally, we will be budgeting $559,000 towards our capital program from our operating funds. So we also have 2 reorganizations proposed for next year. First, we are planning to merge the Animal Control Division, currently housed at the Department of Emergency Services, with our Animal Services Division at the Department of Public Works. This will return both offices to one centralized unit, similar to how the county ran these programs before privatizing over a decade ago. This will provide administrative cost savings and a centralized office to handle both enforcement activities and adoption services under a single manager. Secondly, we are proposing to divide the Department of Community Services into the Department of Housing and Family Services and a separate Department of Aging and Transportation. We are proposing this reorganization to return to function-specific groups, whereby we can focus more directly on the different populations that these departments will be serving. These reorganizations will help the county realize an additional cost savings of approximately $200,000 per year. Okay, we want to talk a little bit about the Board of Education and how those state funds and the county funds come together to fund our education system and our schools. So with this slide, we're basically showing how, unfortunately, the state has not been able to keep pace with their funding plan for the blueprint. We all know about the blueprint for our public school systems. So the top line on this slide shows the amounts projected that would be appropriated to our local schools between FY22 and FY26. The second line depicts what was actually provided, and if you focus on the third line down, the red, we are in a deficit mode. The highlighted block shows this year we are $2.2 million below the state plan funding level, and over the past 5 years, the state has they're $9 million behind the schedule. The second set of numbers below those first 3 rows include future projections and forecasted revenues, which also remain at this point in the red. So this shortfall obviously places a much higher burden on the county to ensure that the blueprint gets funded each year, as we will see on the next slide. So this depicts the county funds for our Board of Education and our schools. So similar to the previous slide, the top line of figures represents the maintenance of effort, or MOE, funding requirement for our Board of Education over the last 7 years, and the upcoming year highlighted in yellow. Notably, over the past 7 years, the county has exceeded MOE 4 times, totaling $24 million over those years. And the second set of figures, we're also showing the MOE funding forecast versus what we anticipate appropriating over the next 8 years. All future allocations greatly exceed the forecasted MOE requirement. So another clear statement that our county commissioners are dedicated and support our public school systems. Lastly, this slide is a statewide local appropriations forecast. This slide basically shows the statewide forecast of what local appropriations should have been between 2025 and FY34 for blueprint funding. And again, as of today, you can see Queen Anne's County highlighted in the red block there. Queen Anne's County is now contributing in FY26 what we were forecasted to fund in about FY29, FY30, where the star is. We're right in between those 2 years. We are funding the Board of Education at $82.7 million, and that compare that to what was forecasted for FY26 at $75.1 million. So we're over 4 years ahead of schedule with our funding for our school systems. Okay, so now we'll move into the operations budget. This is the proposed revenues source pie chart. So income and property taxes, you can see the lion's share both coming in at 43%. Other local taxes at 7% of the overall total. Transfer, service charges, intergovernmental, and miscellaneous categories totaling the balance for another 7%. So that gives you a pictorial perspective of the revenue streams. This detailed slide shows the allocations of each of those revenue streams and numerically. For taxes, on the top 2 lines, we show continued growth in property and income taxes, both right around 8% above the current year. We are seeing a reduction in cannabis sales tax, 90% less. That has to do with the state requirement for the majority of those proceeds to go into a special revenue accounts for allocation to community development projects. Franchise fees are also lower by 13% next year due to cable television subscriptions, which are declining due to increasing streaming services. Our recordation and transfer taxes are up, and they are based on a strong home sales forecast over the next year. Interest income also up over 100% due to continued high interest rates based on the federal rate and the expectation that those rates will remain steady for the next year. So overall, at the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see an 8.8% increase in revenues over the FY25 budget. So the expenses by function, this is the expenses by function pie chart. This is where the money is allocated. Graphically, obviously the largest expense being our public education system. They come in at 43% of the total, followed by public safety, 24%, public works at 7%, other county administrative functions at 6%. We have other county agencies we fund at 5%, which include, to mention a few, the 4-H Park, our Orphans Court, Chesapeake College, our public library, health department, and Board of Elections. Our community services, which includes housing, aging, and the local management board, and Parks and Recreation, are both coming in at 3% of the total budget. And our debt service and other miscellaneous expenses and transfers are each at 4%, with planning and zoning rounding out everything at 1% overall in the FY26 budget proposal. So these next few slides show the numerical budget allocations for all of these departments, agencies, and functions. We'll try to highlight just a few of those that have some of the larger adjustments over this year's budget. In the county administration block, I'll note that our legal fees are down due to an expected decrease in attorney's fees. Our budget and finance is up due to increases in fees the state charges us for the homestead tax administration. Information and technology is up next year primarily due to increases in software subscription fees for our IT systems and the increasing need to fund cybersecurity protections. In addition, our Queen Anne's County TV station includes an enhancement request which would cover additional costs for a new Civic Plus agenda and meetings management system. So overall, county administration functions are increasing by 6.7%. For our community services group, aging is higher due to the conclusion and termination of the ARPA program and the need to provide additional general fund transfers to maintain service deliveries. Housing and the Public Housing Authority are increasing from the absorption of the Public Housing Authority now as a new county agency and ramping up service levels for tenants and constituents needing housing supports. Overall, community services activities are increasing by just over 16%. Our planning and zoning department showing a decrease of 1.5%. This is resulting from the completion of a one-time budgeted expense last year for a new vehicle. And our public safety group in the lower block there, detention center and emergency services, moderate increase of 6.6%. Our public works department, there is an increase in public works administration related to the reallocation of a grant. We didn't lose the grant. It's now being adjusted over on the capital side. That grant did provide some funding for staffing, but those funds are now being budgeted in the capital program. Overall, public works is increasing by 3%. Our Parks and Recreation group, we have some decreases there in recreation, airport, and golf course, which relate to a closer alignment of those budgeted allocations with historic actuals, but they still have a slight increase of 2.6% next year. So overall, in the bottom right-hand corner, our general county government has a total budgeted increase of 5.7% for FY26. Additional agencies, leading off our Board of Education, as we discussed, we have a $8.3 million increase, which includes $7.6 million for operations and $644,000 for the state cost shift for teacher pensions. Total increase for our Board of Education next year, 11%. Other agencies where we're seeing some increases, Sheriff's Office, related to a realignment of their budget to historic actuals to include resource officers at schools and court functions. Overall increase to outside agencies, 7.3%. And lastly, we have on our debt group here, That is up by 4.7%, which is due to a new interest payment, which will be due next fall for a bond sale that we plan to issue later this year. In the other groupings, we have intergovernmental, which is up due to the addition of cost shifts, $214,000, state pass downs to fully cover expenses of the State Assessment Office and Taxation. Our benefits in OPEB are up as well to cover the Marathon Healthcare Facility. However, this expense will reduce employee health premiums going forward in the future for us as well as our colleagues at the school system. Okay, so total revenues budgeted up all together 8.8%, matching our proposed budget revenues. This slide shows where the revenue expense and revenue increases have gone, changes from last year. The major revenue increase are property taxes, as we mentioned, income taxes, and interest income. Major expense increases are for the Board of Education, Public Safety, the Sheriff's Office, and for miscellaneous expenses to cover cost shifts from the state. And here we have, oops, went too far. Here we have a comparison of the statewide property tax rates. We show this each year, and as has been the case for many years, several years, we are anticipating still having the second lowest property tax rate in the state of Maryland, 83 cents per $100 of assessed value. We're the yellow bar there near the end, right next to between Worcester and Talbot counties, and this represents every county in the state, including and Baltimore City. So that's just a perspective of where we stand on our property tax rate. And I believe that concludes our operational presentation. We have some highlights. We'll switch over to the capital budget. So I'm going to have a highlighted list here of capital projects in our CIP, which include leading off Board of Education. We have $8.5 million for Board of Education projects, which include funding for a partial roof replacement at Mattapique Elementary School, HVAC replacements at Kennard Elementary, storefront replacements at Bayside Elementary, IT network hardware, classroom hardware, furniture replacements throughout the schools, stadium lights at the Kent Island High School. Next, we have Chesapeake College, $455,000 to support design efforts for the new Queen Anne's Technical Building at the college. This is a multi-county. The 5 Chesapeake College counties will be supporting that. This is the design phase of that project. $4.4 million, of which about $3 million is grants for the 911 phone center, voice recording system, a new ambulance, radio subscriber replacements, public safety network upgrades, replacement of protective gear, and replacement of cardiac care equipment for emergency services, and an additional allocation of $1.25 million towards our $5 million goal to support the new regional hospital construction from developer exaction fees. All right, next we have, for our housing authority, we've allocated $200,000 to support renovation and improvement projects at our 5 housing authority facilities and scattered site homes, $835,000 to support projects at our 9 volunteer fire companies, $500,000, which is all grant, currently allocated towards the continuing design of the Midshore Regional Detention Center. And we have $3 million for planning and design of a new pedestrian crossing over Route 50 on Kent Island to connect the Cross Island Trail and the South Island Trail on Kent Island. There we go. Now moving into some parks projects. We have $3.4 million for parks projects to include funding for the continuation of the South Island Trail development, replacement of the Mowbray Park playground, various capital equipment, athletic field work, and pedestrian bridge maintenance. For the recreation group, we have $2 million in funding to commence design and contract development for a new recreation center. For our general service and engineering division, we have $2.7 million for wetlands mitigation projects and major renovations to other county facilities and buildings. And information technology, we have $1.3 million for IT infrastructure, cellular signal boosters at our schools and public facilities, and other technology security projects. For our roads division, we have $4.2 million for systems preservation, which includes our asphalt pavement management system, asphalt overlays, bridge maintenance, and capital equipment. The next three projects, or three blocks, we have our enterprise accounts for our water and sewer division, $8 million for the South Kent Island sanitary sewer extension phases 3 and 4, the final two phases, which are nearing conclusion. For our sanitary interconnector water systems, we have $4 million in funding for connecting the Kent Island and Graysonville systems along Main Street corridor through Graysonville, and that's covered with user fees, sanitary user fees, and our customers. And finally, we have $250,000 for the initial planning stages for extension of public sewer to the Marling Farms and Dominion area, which is an area of public health concern. Okay, the 6-year capital budget, this is just the summary of the dollars allocated in your handouts or in the brochures we have out on the table. In the back, several pages, there's a listing of all the capital projects for this year and the 5 planning years, which this represents the total dollar values. If you look at the first column, that's for FY26. We are dedicating $16.5 million for county general capital projects, $22 million for enterprise and special revenue capital projects, $8.5 million for our Board of Education projects, for a total of $47.2 million this upcoming year. And as you can see, the out years, the 5 planning years, our current CIP estimates a total of $465 million in capital projects over that time horizon. And those can be adjusted from time to time in those blocks, but that is our planning window for our capital projects and our capital budget. Lastly, I have 2 pie charts. The first one is the capital funding by funding source pie chart. This essentially shows the funding types we anticipate utilizing for the FY26 capital plan. So 40% comes from capital fund balance, 25% will be bonds, 9% in grants, 17% MDE loans for our water and sewer projects, 8% other funding sources, and 1% in PAYGO funding. And lastly, we have a pie chart showing capital funding by function. This final pie chart graphically shows allocated capital project funds as a percentage of the total capital projects for next year. So we have general capital at 35.4%, Board of Education at 18%, roads at just under 20%, sanitary wastewater at 17.7%, and sanitary water at 8.5%. So that is all of the presentation information I have on the budget. I did mention earlier we do have some links on our website. 2 of those are listed in the center of this slide for more information about the county budget. Please visit those. As I mentioned earlier, there is a nice brochure with a lot more detail and listing of projects that we have available for review and comment. So that concludes our high-level summary, and we can now receive any public comment.
All right. Carolyn Armstrong.
I didn't expect to be first. Good evening, gentlemen. I'm Carolyn Armstrong. I'm on the Board of Trustees for the Queen Anne's County Library. I really want to praise you for your foresight in purchasing a software program called Past Perfect. You gave us some money to do it, and it could possibly evolve into one of the most important programs that we have at the library. It concerns history. It could possibly coalesce the records of the Queen Anne's County Historical Society, the Kent Island Heritage Foundation, Kennard, wonderful museum in Kennard, and maybe if we get some possibilities in the North County, we could have this great county all mobilized together in records. So it's a great tool for anybody coming in for questions about the county or about even in the future families in the county. I know Mary Margaret has a great deal to put input into that. And it's a software that will not only benefit us now, but also benefit us for future years to come. It could possibly be one of the biggest programs that you have in the county for research and for just information about how things came to be. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a question? Ma'am, do we know how much artifacts we have from Claiborne, from the settlement, or do we have any at the library?
I don't know that. I can look into it.
Thank you.
Dr. Salins.
Good evening again. So last night, I shared some of our accomplishments our students and staff have been recognized for over the past 4 years. And tonight, I want to focus on some things that are not necessarily instructional accomplishments, but are just as important for our staff and students. After a needs assessment, we built a solid strategic plan that has on the right path for students and staff to not only achieve academically, but have healthy minds and bodies. That's really important to being successful. You have to be healthy before you can come to the table and learn or do your best in teaching and being there for students. So with your help and partnership, we were able to open 3 school-based health centers in the last 4 years. And with our new status as community schools, we have extended hours after school for our parents. So those school-based health centers are for our students and bring health care right to the schoolhouse door. And this is something that is such a huge need in our district because we really are like a desert for healthcare. We also, with partnership with you, were able to open the first Marathon Health Center. And I thank you because I know we couldn't do it alone, and I don't think that you all could have done it alone. So that partnership brings a huge benefit to all of our employees and certainly does meet that mind and body health. We've been able to increase our school safety protocols, our trainings, and our procedures. And believe it or not, you may not know this, but we have 2 full-time staff members that are completely dedicated to school safety in our Queen Anne's County Public Schools. That is amazing, and we are continuing to build on that. And lastly, utilizing our school resource officers, which you provide funding for. We have an amazing relationship with the Office of the Sheriff. We utilize them in such a positive manner. They are such a huge impact. They are just woven into every school, and so we thank you for that as well. So none of this would have been possible without our partnership, and just a few more reasons why we say thank you to the county commissioners.
Thank you.
So just real quick, one of those resource officers actually became the Kent Island High School hockey coach. You talk about, building relationships with the kids and the respect that the students show our resource officers. It really is a great relationship. And he's a tough coach.
Regina Bennett.
I just wanted to really listen. I wasn't sure what I was going to say
Okay.
until I got here. But I'm just listening and take it all in. So I think if I have anything to ask, I will write it and send it in.
Sure, no problem. if
Or you
want,
can write
at
after
end
the
of
meeting.
Yeah, you
Yep.
can come up to us. Happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you. Right.
Good evening, Commissioners, once again, County Administrator and the Finance Department. We want to thank you again, like I did last night, for continuing to fund the 9 fire departments and the EMS volunteer side. To build a little bit on what I told you last night, some of the companies are now engaging in looking at new apparatus. Some of the new apparatus is just a fire engine, is about $1 million. And one with a ladder is about $2 million. And if you put that thing on the end of what we call a bucket, you can add another $300,000. The gear, we're working diligently with the county on a grant process to see if we can fund that. We try our best to keep funding to help if the VOTEC class that we work with the high school and with the University of Maryland Mifry to make sure the students that are in high school, if they want to get into the fire department, that's an opportunity for them to get, I forgot how many credits it is now. It's about 18 credits, I think, right off the bat, to further educate them and get them maybe into that profession if that's what they want. So I did forget to say last night, we wanted to help you know that we supported DES's budget as well. They're a vital part of the county, of course, and we support them and they support us. And I think that's it. I just wanted to thank you once again.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, that is everybody who signed up. Is there anybody else who would like to speak? Please do.
I think I missed the
Missed the sign-up
No
sheet.
problem.
Hello again. Long time no see. My name is Rebecca Donovan. I live in Chester, Maryland, and I, of course, spoke with you all yesterday on behalf of my son Noah, who passed away last May. Yesterday, my reason for speaking was a little different. I was not aware that we had that budget for Mowbray Playground to overhaul it and make it all-inclusive, and not just for kids who need adaptive play equipment, but also for the younger range of children, ages 6 months to 2 years, which we don't currently have. And so today, I'm here to just thank you. I know that you guys have a lot of decisions that you have to make and a lot of things that you have to prioritize, and I appreciate that you recognize that this is a big need in the community in our county for us to have a playground where children of all abilities can go and safely learn and play. And so I appreciate that you recognize that. And I'm excited, again, I know I mentioned yesterday that my husband and I have started that foundation, Noah's Perfect Playground, and we are committed to partnering with you guys to assist in making this playground overhaul of Mowbray a reality. And I know there are a lot of other playgrounds on the island, so we're ready to, one by one, partner with you guys to tackle them all when the time is right. So thank you again.
Thank you. Anybody else? Is anybody online? No? All right. Phil?
Last night, I thanked the staff and all our department heads for all the hard work that they put in each year, specifically around budget time. But I want to say something real quick that that Todd had mentioned about educational funding and here in Queen Anne's County, and it's been a tough pill to swallow for the last couple of years, and will continue moving forward at least till 2031. But I don't want people out there that are attending these meetings or watching them on TV to think that our Board of Education, our elected officials, and Dr. Salins and her team are the reason for all this. These are unfunded mandates that are coming down from the state, and they're having to deal with those unfunded mandates, these mandates that are designated to improve the education for the kids in the state of Maryland, but the bill comes down from the state to the county, and they're not paying their fair share. So please don't be confused or hold our Board of Education and Dr. Salin and her teams responsible for the challenges that we're facing financially. So great work.
Jack?
I honestly, I just want to say thank you for the few people that did come out tonight. It's always great to hear from the public. And, I feel like this is, in 10 years of budgeting, I feel like this is probably one of the best budgets we've been able to get through in terms of decision-making and things looking to the future, and really looking at Queen Anne's County as a whole financially, and with, of course, my position with MACO, I get to see a lot of the other counties up close and personal with their council people and commissioners, and we are very fortunate here in Queen Anne's County. I know quite a few counties right now that are struggling and making really hard decisions, cutting programs, cutting funding to seniors where they may have to, or to education. So again, I just really want to, I'm just happy I'm a commissioner in Queen Anne's County right now, I can tell you that. So, and every citizen in Queen Anne's County should be happy we're in Queen Anne's County. So, but yeah, thank you all for coming out tonight.
Patrick?
Just to add to that, from Commissioner, we got an email the other day from a gentleman who had just moved over here, and he received our budget in the mail, and he was really impressed. And he goes, "What a great county. I should have moved over here years ago. You guys actually know what you're doing." So that's a testimonial to these gentlemen and to our finance and to everyone else in our county who works for us. So thank you all for coming out. Really appreciate it. Unfortunately, it sounds like the governor probably signed SB 931, which is essentially a land grab for solar. So we just pray that that doesn't happen, but we can see what's coming down the road, unfortunately. So thanks for coming out, folks.
Jim?
My turn?
Top that.
Oh, I can top that.
He's ready.
Come on, Phil, you know better. Well, like I said last night, I thanked all the staff, and we have wonderful directors, and there's at least 3 of them here in the room tonight. But we also have the highest bond rating on the Eastern Shore, And that goes to our finance and the way we do business, and we've been doing business. And it also, you know, reflects the trend that's going on in Queen Anne's County, and I know there's a lot of discussion of growth and no growth, but I will say that some of these developments that age restricted, didn't put any kids in our schools, has done a lot for our community. I mean, a lot of people don't know this. We have a brand new water filtration system that was about $11 million paid by one development. Bathrooms on the Cross Island Trail paid by a development. The $5 million that we committed to the new hospital in Easton paid by one of these developments. So that relieves a lot of stress and a lot of our money, which, you know, that we have to allocate for different things, and allows us to do some of the things that we want to do, like the playground, like the new rec center that we're doing, the bridge that's going to tie our Cross Island trails together, so you'll be able to go, God, I don't even know.
Roman Coast all the way to Queenstown, basically.
Over 20 miles, you know, that you'll be able to stay on a trail and off the roads. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that I'm excited about, and the Board of Education building, you know, I mean, my God, you know, the building they were working in is over 100 years old, and we all walked in there and just said, oh, no. You know, when we go down, you find in the basement the coal chutes and the big furnaces. You got to wonder where
The old radioactive
where the
sign on
people
the wall,
on
the bomb shelter side.
yeah. So I mean, we you know, this is because of the public, because of the people that live here, and you know, it's funny because we used to get that all the time. My taxes are too high. I mean, honestly, we had the lowest property taxes in the state of Maryland because of the education tax.
The Talbot County does.
Talbot County pulls out their education funding and keeps it separate, which
Yep.
is, you know, just a play on words. So, you know, I tout the fact that we are the lowest, and we want to stay the lowest, but we don't want to cut services. And some of those projections on those capitals, the numbers are hefty. But there's a way to do it, and there's a right way to do it, and I think that we've done that in the past and continue to do it. So I'm excited for the future of Queen Anne's County and looking forward to being a part of it. So,
Top that.
All right. Well, I want to thank the citizens of Queen Anne's County because we have to remember that as much as hard work the county does, staff level and the commissioner level, it's the county citizens that are going out there. They are volunteering and doing things so that the county doesn't have to pay for some things, right? They're volunteering in classrooms. They're cleaning up beaches. They are significant, you've seen in the budget, significant increase in what the revenue is from income in the county, and that's because, you know, the county workers are out there working hard, bringing in revenue, and while we're able to keep the taxes at a lower rate, it's because of their hard work that's coming in. And I think also the understanding of the citizens as to what we can and can't do at different times, where people come to us with project ideas and we can talk to them about what's possible at this time, or how to have to reframe a project, or why something might have to be deferred, and they're very understanding about that and appreciative of the great things we can do. And one of the greatest things they do is when there is an amenity that's created, like the pickleball courts, they use it. I mean, they're out there all the time, and so it's great to see them enjoying the trails and the pickleball courts, enjoying the improvements in the school system, starting businesses and interacting with economic development and creating more revenue in the county and jobs in the county. So the citizens are an integral part of the success of this county. So I want to thank them as well.
I had something I wanted to add on that.
Okay, go ahead.
He jogged my memory, and Jim too, is in terms of, and based, it's in our budget, and I don't know if a lot of people catch it, what the pass downs were from the state this year, and specifically I want to target one because I think it has some ramifications not only now but long term, and that is where the state shifted the cost of the State Department Assessment Taxation down to the county. The county, Queen Anne's County, and any county in the state or jurisdiction has zero say in that department, yet we fund it almost 100%. They've been trying for my entire time on MACO to get it to 100%. We fought it off this year. There was no fighting it off. It got passed down to the counties. Now, everybody realizes that SDAT is the one that comes in and assesses your property, thus creating what you're going to pay in property taxes. And I know it's kind of got glossed over in this budget cycle a little bit, but there was an exorbitant rise in assessments in this last cycle, which I think about it more and more, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any means, but when you face a budget deficit that the state did coming into this year of $3 billion roughly, one of the places they can get money is through property taxes, right? State property taxes. Well, it's awful convenient that we had these exorbitant hikes in property taxes across the state, right? And that all went in to offset that. But our citizens here got affected by something, again, I say, and I want to point this out, something that we pay 100% of how it's funded, but get no say in how it's done. Property taxes should be set locally. That's something that I think that the counties really need to get on board with the state, because I just think it's unjust for the state. That's fine if they've got to meet their budget, but when they come in and they tax our citizens, in my mind, much more than what they have in the past. I mean, I looked at some of the percentages, 31%, that's, man, I wish my house would go up 31% in value. I'd sell tomorrow, right? But, and that's not it's not a real figure. If you have a real estate appraiser come in and look at that, they're not giving you those same numbers. So again, this is something I think that the state really has to watch out for, because as taxes go up on that side, that becomes a burden, especially for our retirees, and that's kind of where I'm getting at. It's a huge burden on our retirees on fixed income. When you get a 31% increase in your property taxes, that's very hard to close that gap, and that forces our retirees to make decisions on whether they stay here in Queen Anne's County generationally. So just one of the things, I really want the citizens to think about that. I don't really know what we're going to do about it, but I think something as a group, not only Queen Anne's County, but all the counties have to put some pressure on the state to change that policy statewide. But
On a happier note, in about 15 minutes, the Kent Island High School men's varsity lacrosse team will be playing Stephen Decatur for the state championship game. So
it's a championship tonight?
State championship game, yep. For what, Division II?
Yeah, 2, yeah. 2A, right?
2A.
Yeah, 2A.
So anyway, whether you're from the north part of the county, south part of the county, let's cross our fingers for Kent Island High School men's varsity lacrosse team.
Be 3 years in a row, right?
Yeah, something like that, 2 or 3.
I know they won 2, yeah. So.
Go Bucks. Bucks. And on that note, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, everybody.